Today, South Korea's president faces impeachment over a failed martial law attempt. Trump considers Ron DeSantis for defense secretary, and the French government prepares to be toppled by a no-confidence vote. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 4th of December, 2024. South Korea was plunged into a political crisis on Tuesday night as President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law in the country, vowing to eradicate anti-state forces. However, after just 6 hours following protests and parliamentary opposition, Yoon reversed course and lifted martial law, and now faces potential impeachment. So, what on earth just happened, and what will happen to Yoon? Yoon's declaration of martial law was the first in South Korea since the end of military rule 4 decades ago. He claimed that the opposition-controlled National Assembly had become a den of criminals that amounted to a legislative dictatorship. For context, Yoon, a deeply unpopular conservative president, has faced a hostile opposition-controlled National Assembly since he entered office in 2022, and he and his wife have been subject to various corruption allegations. The opposition have recently tried to slash his budget and have launched various impeachment efforts against several government officials. After declaring martial law, a decree was issued banning all political activity and protests, subjecting the media to martial law control, banning strikes, and more. There was swift condemnation not just by the opposition, but also by high-profile members of Yoon's own party, including the party chief and mayor of Seoul. Despite the martial law declaration being made late at night, protesters soon gathered outside the National Assembly, where they scuffled with police and soldiers who had been deployed to impose martial law. The military seemingly attempted to block lawmakers from convening in the National Assembly, but failed thanks to efforts by protesters and parliamentary staff who held back soldiers and even helped some lawmakers jump the fence. More than half of the Assembly's 300 lawmakers attended the emergency session and voted 190-0 to block the martial law declaration, a move that under the Constitution, President Yoon legally had to comply with. Then, at 4:30 in the morning, Yoon announced an end to martial law, ending a dramatic 6-hour period. But the political drama is far from over. Opposition parties have now submitted a bill calling for Yoon's impeachment, while the main opposition Democratic Party has reportedly begun formalising treason charge plans against him. The impeachment motion has been signed by some 190 opposition lawmakers, with no support from ruling party lawmakers. Impeachment requires more than 2/3 of lawmakers to vote in favour, that's 200 out of 300, and with Yoon's party controlling 108 seats, at least 8 would need to split from him to successfully impeach. If successful, a trial would be held by the Constitutional Court, which can confirm impeachment with the support of 6 out of 9 judges. As a country, South Korea has proved itself in the past to be more than happy to impeach and prosecute its presidents, so Yoon would be far from the first. Now, this is a pretty shocking story with a whole lot more to say, so check out our full explainer video coming out on TLDR Global on Thursday morning. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Louis Tojo, then consider joining the TLDR Daily Membership Program for just $1.99. Now over to the US, where it's been reported that President-elect Donald Trump is considering shaking up his incoming cabinet by replacing his current pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In nominating Hegseth, who is a former Fox News TV host, Trump highlighted the former soldier's education and his military experience in Afghanistan and Iraq. But despite being a veteran, Hegseth is widely considered to be inexperienced for the position. Aside from concerns regarding his qualifications, Hegseth has come under intense scrutiny over sexual assault allegations, financial mismanagement at a veterans charity, and repeated intoxication and infidelity. Hegseth is now facing enough opposition in the Senate, particularly among Republican women. This week, he's making rounds on Capitol Hill, meeting with Republican senators in a bid to shore up his nomination. But there's increasing skepticism about Hegseth's chances of getting enough votes to be confirmed by the Senate. Rumours are circulating now that Trump could settle on replacing Hegseth with DeSantis, should Hegseth's nomination fail. According to CBS, DeSantis, who was first elected as Florida governor in 2018, did not reply to a request for comment, and a spokesperson for Trump declined to say whether DeSantis was under consideration for the post. DeSantis ran against Trump in the Republican primary, and before dropping out, he was considered by some to be a Trump 2.0, a Republican who could deliver Trump's populist agenda without the controversial baggage. Over to France now, where the government is preparing to face a vote of no confidence on Wednesday evening. The motion, which is tabled by the left-wing party La France Insoumise and supported by the far-right National Rally, will be debated from 4 p.m. Paris time, with the vote expected to take place about 3 hours later. It's widely expected to oust French Prime Minister Michel Barnier from power, plunging France back into political chaos once again. For context, centre-right politician Barnier, who was formerly the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, was appointed to the premiership by President Emmanuel Macron. Macron disregarded a request by the left to appoint a prime minister of their choice, despite the left having won the snap legislative election in July. They were opposed to Barnier from the start, due to his plans to raise taxes by €20 billion to bring down France's high level of public debt. But since Barnier still had enough support from other MPs, he could push ahead with his budget programme. However, on Monday this week, Barnier made the contentious decision to use Article 49.3 of the French Constitution, which allows the Prime Minister to pass a budget without the approval of Parliament. Accordingly, the left tabled a motion for a vote of no confidence, which Barnier is almost certain to lose. We'll be publishing a more detailed explainer on the TLDR EU channel tomorrow, so be sure to look out for that. In a historic election marred by controversy, Namibia has elected its first ever female president after last week's disputed election. Nandine Ndaitwah of the Southwest Africa People's Organisation secured over 57% of the vote. Her nearest rival, Panduleni Itula of the Independent Patriots for Change, or IPC, garnered 26%. But the election faced significant logistical issues, leading to a 3-day polling extension in some areas. Itula criticised the electoral process as deeply flawed and announced intentions to contest the result in court. Meanwhile, many opposition parties chose to boycott the results announcement on Tuesday evening in the capital. In her victory statement, Nandine Ndaitwah emphasised that the Namibian people voted for peace and stability. Having served as vice president, she brings over 25 years of government experience to the role. In our final uplifting story today, we discuss the bee population in Scotland. Specifically, this relates to Rewilding Denmark Field, a 90-acre project working to restore nature to green spaces in what is an increasingly built-up area for the last 2 years. The charity counted only 35 bumblebees in the fields in 2021. Since then, though, and after years of nature restoration work in the fields, the bumblebee population increased to 4,056. This is an increase of 116 times. Additionally, the charity noted that the diversity of bumblebees also doubled from 5 to 10 different species. Now, obviously, all of that is pretty complicated, but hopefully our analysis has made it a little clearer. Making videos like this requires a lot of effort and research to uncover what's really going on, before then summarising it into something that makes sense to everyone. But that's an expensive process. Running TLDR this year has cost just under £800,000, which, when your main product is free YouTube videos, is quite a lot of money. If you want to support our journalism in 2025, then one way to do so is picking up a copy of our magazine Too Long. That's because buying Too Long doesn't just get you a high-quality magazine, it also allows you to invest in independent journalism and join us in shaping the future of news. Now, this most recent issue focuses on the 29 biggest elections of the year, making sure you understand what really happened in this mega election year, and commemorating one of the biggest years in news. We don't just discuss elections though, we also run through China's trade issues, Biden's successes and failures, and the UK's new opposition leader, and the state of the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. Plus, the fact it's a magazine also means we're not constrained by the time limits or algorithms imposed by YouTube. Unlike fleeting news cycles and algorithmic feeds, Too Long offers thought-provoking analysis and comprehensive coverage that's truly worth holding. If you're convinced, you have 3 more decisions to make. First, do you want a physical or digital copy? The physical is a high-quality 60-page perfect-bound magazine shipped right to your door. The digital is slightly cheaper, especially if shipping is a concern. Your second choice is the Standard or Premium edition. The Standard is just a copy of the magazine, while Premium also gets you access to our monthly behind-the-scenes podcast, The Bullpen, where we break down all of the production of Too Long and TLDR more generally, and you'll get your name printed in the thank you section of the magazine. Finally, do you want to subscribe? If you do, you'll get a copy of Too Long every 4 months, meaning you'll never miss an issue. Plus, you'll also get 25% off every copy as long as you stay subscribed. If you can, subscribing also gives us a reliable income stream, which is super useful for us. Regardless of which option you choose, you can buy a copy right now at toolong.news or click the link in the description. Thanks for your support, and thanks for backing Too Long.